Hello there, I'm Tolvo. This is going to be an in-depth guide for fighting Genichiro and Sword Saint for the Immortal Severance, Purification, and Return endings of Sekiro. This guide will be broken down into multiple parts within this same video, covering Genichiro, Sword Phase of Sword Saint, Spear Phase, and Lightning Phase. I'll be showing off tactics for each and later game footage for each, and just clips showing everything, and then a culmination of all of it in a single fight. Let's get to the guide. Let's take a look at Genichiro's Mortal Draw. It does more damage if you try to block it than deflect it. It still deals damage if you deflect it, so preferably dodge it. If you stand behind him at the start, it will most likely miss. Stand behind him on his left side. Now, he'll do a follow-up normally. You can dodge to the side to avoid it. Just try to pay attention to which way he's aiming as he's going to swing it. That one is vertical. He does not always do the second swing. Sometimes he'll only do the first, and using Ichimonji, you can completely cancel the second. This form of Genichiro is very similar to the previous ones. He just has Mortal Draw. Jump over his sweeps when they come. When you want to jump on his head, slightly angle your controller a little bit forwards to the left. You can Mikiri and deflect his leaping thrust, the same for his after being deflected from his jump slam down. The same can be said for his regular thrusts. Again, he's mostly the same fight, still pretty easy. You'll probably be doing him without taking any damage, which is good for Sword Saint. For his combo, I prefer to deflect the first two hits for this little swing around flurry followed up by a big swing. And then if you deflect the last hit, you'll get knocked back just a little bit, but then he'll do a follow-up Mikiri. You want to slightly delay before you Mikiri his thrust. If you do it too early, you'll run into him and probably get hit. You can also Ichimonji him as he's coming out. You can use Mortal Draw too. You can deflect the entire thing, but it's quite hard. But it will build up a lot of posture on him. Now, if he's bringing out his bow a lot, you can just kind of keep using your attack and it will keep blocking it. If he fires two bow arrows without moving, that means he's going to follow up with a Mortal Draw. He can do the same with one arrow. They're kind of annoying to deflect on no hit, no damage, charmless. Now, you can deflect him. You can also dodge most of his attacks, showing that off here. It kind of changes how his AI works, but otherwise he's mostly the same. This was for no hit, no damage, Charmless Demon Bell, New Game Plus 7. This did not end up well. I failed in Lightning Phase, unfortunately. But mostly the same. I just felt I should show this so you can see how the entire fight will go. That's what I'm going to be doing, is showing clips of various individual things and how to handle them, as well as a clip combining everything, showing what his normal patterns are and how to counter it over an entire fight. As I said, you want to get that Mikiri. It's pretty useful, builds good posture, canceling out his bow by just attacking. He'll go down pretty fast, even just if you're not very good. You'll probably be doing no hit, no damage with Genichiro. Sword Saint is an entirely different beast. He's much faster. Now, here I'm showing how the fire prosthetic works on him. It does okay. The burn is decent. It requires 2 blasts to light him, unless you have oil. Firecracker does work on him, but you only get 1 hit in typically. His Ichimonji is a nice opening. You typically want to dodge behind him. It gives you 2 hits on him from behind. If you deflect him, he'll do a follow-up, which will be a Dragon Flash. You can block the after effect, and I think the first hit too. If you try to dodge to the side or run to the side during it, it'll hit you because you're too close. Now, if you're further away, you can deflect it still, you can block this, but you can also just sprint directly to the side and then run behind him, and if you get behind him, you can hit him twice. You only want to do this on sword phase. After he deflects, he will pretty often do a jab punch that's fast followed up by a thrust. You want to deflect the jab. If you don't, you'll get posture broken and hit by the thrust, typically. You can deflect it, you can Mikiri it, you can even dodge to the side of it. If you deflect it or dodge it, he kind of like just freezes. He'll often do that short little attack there where he'll hit and then run away. If you see him charging up this attack with his sword sheathed when you're up close, he'll do a quick hit followed up by a sweep. But it will actually be different if you're further away. It will be an Isshin across. You can deflect it. It's not totally safe. But it's a bit more consistent, I think, than Emma's. There was being done in the air. After he deflects, he'll often do a little quick swing, which you can deflect and hit immediately. Now, if you back off while he's doing Isshin across like that, you only have to deflect one part of it. The safest way to deal with it, though, is to just run around and behind him. This, I believe, is a full fight of him. Again, showing off all of the patterns, how it will normally go. Isshin kind of gets in these like deflect counter battles with you. Those are actually pretty good for building up posture on him. He doesn't have too much posture, honestly, or health. But Isshin himself, the Sword Saint, has 3 phases, of course. Here I'm showing off more of dodging against him. You can dodge Sword Phase pretty well. Spear Phase and Lightning Phase, you don't want to do this. It's just not going to work. His combos are kind of ridiculous. They're just all these huge flurries with big area swinging attacks, and they're all really fast, and he's constantly spinning while doing it. So you can't too easily get behind him. For some, you can do it, it will work, but in general, you're gonna take a hit if you're trying to do that. Sword Phase, though, it works pretty well, a bit similar to fighting Owl. Now, this is New Game Plus 7, Charmless Demon Bell, no hit, no damage. I like to use Divine Confetti and Yasha for this. It makes it go much faster. The Yasha, I'm not sure if it actually increases damage at all on this high of a difficulty. Doesn't seem to do much vitality-wise, but it does seem to do a lot posture-wise. Be wary if you're running around or dodging of the rocks in the environment. Also, if you want to, you can bring him over towards the bridge. It's a little bit better because you won't have to deal with all of the white flowers obscuring your vision. That is a slightly hard area for mobility and moving around in. You don't have as much space. But Sword Phase is, again, pretty simple, and it's almost the same as Shura Isshin Phase 1. There are some minor differences, but they're pretty similar. Spear Phase for Sword Saint is when all hell breaks loose. He is going to stomp and pull up his spear. The stomp knocks you back. The pulling of the spear does damage. I like to use Lazulite Sabimaru here. Now, you can jump off his head as he's charging up his wind AoE attack, his spin. Now, you want to wait until midway through he's doing it, or you'll land too early and take a hit. For this phase, if you fight him head on, just stay in his face and make him guard, you can get him caught in a deflect pattern like that, which will make it easy to break him. I'm going to just show a lot of his combos, because there's various different variations on it, almost seemingly hundreds. He can also pull out a gun in this phase, and has rapid fire. He'll fire between 1 and 4 shots, typically 1 or 4. Now, his combos can all be deflected. It's just very hard. He will mix up sword swings in between big spear swings. The startup sword swing will often be able to cancel the entire attack if you deflect it. For his gun rapid fire, you want to kind of just treat it like long arm centipede. Deflect as fast as possible. It's very much not safe for doing no hit no damage charmless. You want to instead sprint to the sides if you're further away, or dodge behind him if you're up close. Many attacks he has hyper armor during, and he can just spin around and suddenly do really quick flurries. Try not to attack him much from behind without him guarding. If you're hitting him without him guarding, he can rather suddenly spin around and do a quick sword swing and lead into a really long combo that will probably kill you and posture break you. If he jumps back, you can dodge through his spear swing when he's leaping. You can also deflect it. It depends on what you want to get from him, really. He'll often follow up with gunshots. If he does that, you can run behind him and hit him a few times. But again, be careful about his hyper armor. A lot of his overhead swings leave him open afterwards, but if you don't attack immediately after deflecting them, he'll pull out a gun and do a close range blast. It'll be one hit that does a lot of damage. You can deflect it. I think you can block it if you're not charmless. There's just so much to cover. If he's doing his leaping overhead slam, you can dodge around it and hit him. You can also just deflect it and get an opening. For his circular wind blast like that, where he does a big sweep, you can actually deflect it and take no damage. Now, there is again just so much to cover. This is a little bit of dodging his combos just to show how ridiculous it is, but you can dodge them. You can even dodge this little wind sweep thing. Now, Sword Saint has some thrusts. If he misses his thrust and you're to the side just a bit, he'll actually drag the spear back. He also has that sweep he can do as a follow-up to various attacks. After doing a leap, he can also leap and stab downwards instead of a slam. Like I said, poison does pretty well on him in spear phase. It seems spear phase might actually have less health. It looks like the poison does more damage on this phase. I believe this is New Game Plus 7, Charmless Demon Bell. This should be no hit. Again, just showing off how to do that, how that's possible. Being careful. You can play him very safe and stand very far back and just bait out Makiris and hit him. It will make the fight take a really long time. Now, this was not the best of fights per se, but it kind of shows things off. Preferably, you want to stick close to him. It will look more impressive, but it will also make the fight go much faster if you're staying up in his face. You want to keep hitting him against his guard, and then when he tries to counter with his sword swing, you want to deflect him and then continue. And you can kind of get him stuck in a pattern this way. Now, third phase of Sword Saint himself is Lightning phase. This is where he is going to start using lightning abilities. You're able to lightning reversal them, and this is actually pretty good. So Mortal Draw does decent against him, but with lightning you can stun him and do a lot of damage. Again, I'm going to show off just a few of the timing for lightning. Be wary, the elevation can actually fuck you here. You can hit the ground too early by landing on a hill that's taller. On top of that, if you're not careful, you can end up too far away, and the lightning reversal will miss him, and he'll immediately fire his gun and shoot you before you're done. Now, you can deflect lightning reversal to take less damage from it, but you'll still take damage. Now, this is not my tactic. I think it was Four-Eyed Gamer or something along those lines, where I saw this from using Mist Raven. Here is showing again, he will shoot you as you are landing. Now, you can dodge through the lightning. You can also jump over the sort of sweeping motion one. It's a little bit dangerous to dodge through. If you end up too close to Sword Saint, you'll actually not get hit, but you'll get the lightning shock and take damage. That's what happened to me one of these times, and ruined the no hit, no damage. Now, he has these wind blasts he can do. It's sort of Inuyasha-like, I'll say. Or, there's a famous sword from Japan that this is the grass-cutting sword. But you want to deflect this. Now, if you deflect it at close range, it will actually stagger him. But it seems to deal damage to you for some reason if you deflect it at close range. I don't know why. You'd think that would be better, so you would want to deflect it at close range, but that makes it seem to do damage. Again, for the big wind sweep, you can deflect it. Now, he's still going to have all of his spear phase abilities, as far as I know. I got to see more of his combos in this phase. Again, you can Makiri his thrust, you can deflect him. He has a lot of follow-ups if you don't Makiri the thrust and you either dodge it or deflect it. He can do various different swings of all sorts. He can follow up with gunshots. He can do basically any other ability of his after you deflect a Makiri, or deflect one of his thrusts, so just be careful about that. The same can be said if you deflect his overheads, like slams with his spear. He has quite a lot of different follow-ups, not as much seemingly if you deflect his thrust. He can also just dash at you instantly and do really quick 2 swings after most of his attacks. Now, this is a complete fight right here. I don't have the full no hit, no damage for New Game Plus 7 Charmless Demon Bell. This is just New Game, but should show you just how quick this phase goes. That should be enough to teach people how to fight Sword Saint, I think. I hope this guide has been helpful to those watching. If it is, please let me know. I would like to make more guides to help people. I play this game far too much. And yeah, I play it too much. But anyway, that is Sword Saint.
Sekiro.